Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of 10 for the Chairman. This is where I take 10 questions from our subscribers and answer them to the best of my ability. Our subscribers are the subset of our community that contribute money every month to enable us to do enhanced community content. So this show, Around the Verse, Bug Smashers, Shipshape, a lot of the video content we do, as well as things like Jump Point, which is a 40 to 70 page sort of behind the scenes digital magazine we do every month, covers sort of how we build ships, the various steps from sort of initial concept all the way to sort of the final game model, how we think or design certain aspects of the game systems or game mechanics, occasionally sort of behind the scenes of certain events we do, as well as lore about the universe, like systems and companies, and finally we also have fiction in each one of the magazines. And so it's a really great read. I'd recommend checking that out. Also for subscribers, we do kind of fun things like Flair for the hangers as a thank you for enabling the sort of community content we do. And a lot of the money that subscribers contribute, and they lets us do it, lets us have these cameras and people like Tom on the other side of it shooting me. So thank you, subscribers, for doing that very much. And as such, I answer 10 questions, and these actually will be the last 10 I will answer for a little while, because I'm, by the time you see this, I'm recording this on Friday, but we'll air it on Monday, I will be flying through the air towards the UK, where I'm going to spend the next 7 to 8 weeks between UK and Germany. We've got some pickup performance capture and motion capture stuff we're doing to finish out Squadron 42, some sort of VO stuff that we always knew we had to do once we had sort of the levels sort of fleshed in, and we kind of knew sort of this is what the guards would say, or this would be the sort of radio chatter you would get. So we're going to be doing that, and then hunkering down with the teams in the UK and Germany. We got a lot of cool stuff that's up and coming this year, and a lot to be done. And anyway, I'm looking forward to it. But sadly, I won't be here in LA, so shooting the 10 for the Chairman will be on hold for a little bit, and I'm pretty sure that we'll have various folks from the company filling admirably with our various other 10 for the series stuff. But I'll be back. Don't worry about that. All right, so first question of the 10 questions is from Christopher1006, which I would add is a very good name, Christopher, that is. And he asks, what can we expect for clothing options in the first implementation, and will they have an effect on us, e.g. bullet protection? So at the beginning, we're going to have some social items like clothes, jackets, trousers, t-shirts, plus you'll be able to buy some flight suit or armor sets, and these will be sort of our very early stuff. Is actually kind of some of our legacy art that you already know that you run around on. So like a lot of times, everyone's running around in the light marine suit, and then occasionally you can earn the medium marine suit if you kill a level 5 outlaw. And so those armor suits actually will not be in the they're not going to be in Squadron 42, and ultimately they're not in the final game, because we've got a whole new sort of character pipeline and tech pipeline with new shaders and all the rest of stuff. And so we're working on those assets, and it's a whole step above where the old stuff is, but it's not all ready for everyone to use just yet. So the old stuff's still pretty cool, and so we'll be selling some of that for Alpha UEC in shops down on ArtCorp, and also actually I have a couple of smaller shops sitting in Port Olisar at the very beginning for the very first implementation of persistence and shopping. And the armor ones will give you a bit of protection. The new item system 2.0, which I've talked about quite a few times, will have a more sophisticated sort of armor, like personal armor and helmet implementation with life support and all the rest of stuff, and that is actually in progress right now. It won't be with the very first iteration of sort of persistence and shopping, but probably a couple of releases later we'll be switching over all the personal items to sort of the new 2.0 system, and that will enable us to have things that will potentially keep you warm, or help absorb damage, which kind of what armor does. So long term, expect to see more of that. At the beginning, it'll be very sort of basic, rudimentary stuff, but it's going to be exciting because it's the sort of first time that you'll be able to sort of customize what flight suit you're wearing, like what social clothes you're running around in, and it'll persist. And you earn some money killing some AI pirates, and you can spend some money buying a new shirt or whatever in Port Olisar down at ArtCorp. So that'll be cool. All right, next question comes from Vapor or Oyora. So Vapor I hope I said that right. It seems to me there have been lots of lessons learned in online gaming over the last 15 years. My question is, have you been in discussion with former colleagues from your origin or wider afield, and has this influenced your thinking on your development strategy for Star Citizen? I ask because one of the truly enjoyable aspects of some of their games have been around player economy and socialization, thinking Star Wars Galaxy particularly. Well, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, so when I started this, obviously Ultima Online's one of the sort of original granddaddies of MMOs. It started development when I was still at Origin, and I know a lot of the people that led it, obviously Richard Garriott Lord British, Star Long, and quite a few other folks too. So had a fair amount of discussions in the early days, a long time ago, subscribed to Star Wars Galaxy and World of Warcraft and all the rest of them. So yeah, a lot of that sort of kind of has shaped sort of what I want to do with Star. So it's kind of like I look at what other things do and I go, well, I like that bit, or I don't like this bit, or I really would like this kind of experience. And that's usually kind of why I make games, is I sort of see something that I would like a certain way, and there isn't a game out there that sort of delivers that experience, and so I go and make it, which is really how Star Citizen came about, because I sort of felt like the technology was ready to sort of build this immersive world that I've always wanted to venture around in. I have to say that the social aspects, which I think you're asking about here, is one of the things that's really compelling, and even in what you can see right now in sort of the early stages of SC Alpha, where really you can't. We don't actually have that many systems of gameplay to support the social aspects, but people are just doing it anyway. So, someone gets stranded out at a location and they'll go into the chat and say, "Hey, come rescue me." And we don't have any. We are going to have support where you'll have a rescue beacon and it'll show up on a map, and you can pay people to pick you up and stuff like that. But right now, it's all sort of completely informal, emergent behavior that everyone that's playing is sort of doing. So people are rescuing other people, or people are like getting together and crewing up ships and going off and getting involved in encounters and adventures, and it's really cool. So we actually have a big focus of the world and system we're building is we're building play for people that want to play solo, definitely, right? Which is sort of that old privateer model, but there's a huge focus on how we build gameplay that is that sort of group of friends experience, where like you and your buddies are flying a Constellation, or you're out there interacting with other players, like someone needs help, they need to be refueled or rearmed or saved out in space. So all these kind of things, we are building systems to do that. We have a pretty exciting sort of next stage communications platform that will unify what we're doing on the web and also what will happen in the game. It's still, it's in the early stages and we're working on it, so it's not going to debut right now. But I definitely think that's going to be pretty cool, where you'll be able to organize your groups and chat groups and friends and organizations and be, not in the game or in the game, and sort of have full presence in sort of chat. So not the very rudimentary basic one that we have in the game now. It's just we're going to sort of basically unify it, the platform. So you could arrange, on these sort of chat setups for, in your groups, and arrange groups and say, hey, let's get together for a game. Let's go adventuring together tonight at X PM or whatever. And then later on you go in the game, it's already set up. You set it off offline, maybe on your, PC, or maybe on when you're mobile, but it's all the same kind of sort of chat. So you could even have someone playing a game and you can see, say on your your Android or iPhone, and you could be chatting with some people that are playing a game in the same chat thing, and and you'll see where they are in the star systems. And so we're gonna have a pretty cool, there's a lot of focus anyway. The upshot is that we're focusing a lot on social aspects, getting people together. I mean, I definitely am always impressed every time we have an event, because all these people say, "Hi, this is my new best friend, and I only met him through Star Citizen." And it really, yes, we're a computer game that everyone sits in front of a computer and interacts, but you're meeting real people on the other end. And so we're thinking about how we can get people to work together, coordinate together to achieve things, as well as just have the lone wolf gameplay. And then of course we have sort of the bigger organization meta gameplay as well planned in there. So I'm thinking when all of it's in, which obviously takes time because it's wildly ambitious, it will be, I think socially probably, our goal is to be something that people would look at and say that is how you implement sort of social engagement in your game. And I think if you look at what we do with the web side of things and how we do it on the community side, that you can definitely see that that's sort of our objective. And those were some of the big takeaways that I thought were really cool. The emergent behavior and the social aspects that came out of Ultra Online. You see some of those in EVE, but also World of Warcraft. I mean, there's vast amounts of people that made friends, got together in World of Warcraft that they would have never met otherwise, which is totally cool. So yes, we'll look at all those and use it to inform what we're going forward and doing. Next question comes from Aidan Arachi, who asks, how are you or we will be handling this situation? We are exploring or hauling long freight and it's late, we log off. Since we are out in space, our ships will be ... attacked, safe till log in, or SOL. I'm guessing that means shit out of luck instead of sol as in star. Well, so we basically said that if you have beds aboard sort of the bigger ships and you're in a sort of non-combat area where you're not engaged in combat, there's someone not threatening you nearby, if you go to the bed, it's kind of like a save game. Otherwise, you're going to have to sort of land at a space station or land down on a planet, and then again, it's sort of like a save checkpoint. So those are the places you're sort of allowed to save. So we don't let you, sort of save in the middle of a combat or pirates attacking you, because that sort of defeats the purpose. But if you're out in the void of space and nothing's around, you go to your bunk bed, go to sleep, and then you'll be able to log back and wake up, and you'll still be out in that void of space, because essentially at that point we'll take your ship away so people can't sort of attack you while you're asleep. So that's sort of allowing you to do sort of like the equivalent of a save checkpoint, which is the same as if you land on a space station and go and sleep in the sleeping quarters, or go down in a planetary landing location and kind of do the same. Those are sort of the moments that, okay, you're at this point in your progress to save, but we don't let you do it while you're in conflict. You don't let you do it, potentially we wouldn't let you do it in certain unsafe areas, but there will be areas you could do that, so you don't have to finish the trip. You could save, log in, and then you log out, and you'll still be back there. Now, of course, the prices of the commodities that you may be hauling may have changed if you take too long to come back, but that's kind of up to you. At least your ship won't get taken or attacked. Okay, next question comes from Smokestack, who asks, it was mentioned on a recent 10 for the Chairman that the new MISC Prospector will possibly be able to carry cargo containers full of mine material to a hull-class ship. Could a hull-class ship possibly have the ability to carry a Prospector in like a piggyback mode, or that one or two people could carry out a mining operation with just a hull and the Prospector? Or will the Prospector have the ability to take jump points on its own? Okay, so the Prospector will definitely have the ability to take jump points on its own. It's designed as a sort of more personal mining ship. So, we have the RSI Orion, which is industrial scale, which is kind of like the Reclaimer's industrial scale. But the Prospector is more sort of in the size range of a Freelancer. And it's specifically got sort of mining equipment for essentially, laser drilling and tractor beam and tractor beaming up various sort of minerals and materials or ore and stuff that you could find on the surface of planetoids or say off asteroids and stuff like that. And you sort of pack up these sort of, whatever you want to call them, ore containers, and they'll sort of fill up, and then those containers could be handed off to a bigger ship, sort of like think of it as a container ship sort of paradigm where you see someone's mining coal and then they load it into basically train trucks, and then the train goes off to like the coast, and then they load it into a big container ship or a big coal ship, and it goes across the ocean. So those kind of things will be available. I'm not 100% sure on whether the Prospector potentially could be attached to the hull. If it was, it would only be the very bigger hulls. We've talked about them potentially being able to ship, like almost like a car carrier that you see. But it's still early. We're going to be showing the Prospector, this week actually. And So hopefully you guys like it. It's definitely feels very MISC. It's kind of cool, and I think it's going to be sort of pretty interesting gameplay. So I'm kind of interested to seeing people sort of use that as going and doing non-combat oriented stuff. But of course, then they'll be taking the material somewhere to sell, and you can either hand them off or take them yourself. And then maybe there'll be pirates that'll be after you trying to jack you for the ore that you've got, and then maybe you're going to have someone help and protect you. And I think there's a lot of cool emergent gameplay that'll come from that. So that's the answer on that one. Okay, the next question comes from Alex Valentine, who asks, now that the Constellation is roughly in line with where it should be, can we expect to see it capable of deploying its Merlin in the PU? So the Merlin being deployed in the PU is on our schedule. We are working on it. It sort of comes with some of the kind of bigger ship stuff, like we're doing the same stuff for the Idris, where you can fly in Gladiuses and land inside it. And we're working on a specific, besides manually landing, there's sort of some auto landing modes, because it's not as easy to land in a ship while it's moving as you would think. And the same would be kind of for the Constellation, so being able to have the Merlin sort of dock in the back, and then you get in and out. So it's not going to be in the next release or two, but in the near future, yes, because it's on our roadmap, and it's really just a matter of getting to it and having some of the other fundamental stuff. We've sort of been waiting till the full item system stuff is 2.0, because some of the people that would be doing that are working on that, and this other thing which we call object containers, which is basically a holder of a whole bunch of objects, and they can be Russian dolls, so you can have another holder of a whole bunch of objects inside it, and object containers sit inside zones, and essentially that's our, it's not a CryEngine way, it's our sort of new way of streaming in, like say Port Al-Assad is a good example. That's a space station. That'll be an object container, so a point of interest will be an object container. But inside that, you've got the space station, and then say maybe each room or each spoke or hub on the space station could be a separate object container, so it gets Russian dolled. And then the artists, as they're working on it, the sort of modular fashion, can save individual containers out and then load them all in. And then the container itself holds the information for the objects inside it and has all the streaming information, so it knows, oh, well, I get within this range, I need to start streaming in. And of course, containers inside something, you don't need to start streaming them in until you're going to be maybe landed on it. You can be able to walk inside. And so it's the sort of fundamental tech that is going to be running the Idris and all the big ships, because we've got basically huge floating FPS levels, which you don't want to be rendering, certainly, and you don't even want to have streamed in until you actually will be seeing them or using them or interacting with them. And so that is that tech has to be in, and then sort of the Merlin, some other stuff happens. And it's mostly because the people working on that tech would also be the people that would be doing sort of the Merlin docking and getting in and out stuff. Okay, next question comes from Steve Hunter, who asks, I am curious about the quantum drive. Is it envisioned to have the quantum drive be steerable in the future, to be able to change your heading while traveling in quantum drive, or is the quantum drive meant to be always in a straight line travel only? No, quantum drive is always meant to be straight line travel. You are not, you are traveling at such great speed that any sort of course deviation would either have to be done incredibly slowly, or you would basically return to jelly from the kind of g-forces that would be exerted, because at 0.2 the speed of light, that's very fast. And so the idea is, it's just a straight line shot, so you have to line up where you're going to go, and then if any sort of large object gets in the way, like a ship or a gravity well or anything like that, celestial body, you get pulled out of quantum drive, because essentially it's a kind of sort of a hand wavy science fiction for it is it sort of creates a gravity bubble around you that also helps accelerate you up to a really fast speed, and then you do the opposite, because even just going from 2, 3, 4, 500,000 meters per second to 0.2 speed of light in whatever it is, a few seconds, is incredible amount of acceleration. So unless you were sort of in your own sort of gravity bubble, you would still be squashed. And it only works basically straight line, which kind of is cool, because then it sort of allows emergent play. So if you know which direction someone's flying, you could track their quantum jump. You could maybe radio ahead, because don't forget that's at the speed of light instead of 0.2c, and although you have to be, depending on how far they're going, you'd have to have a distance, but then someone would know their trajectory, and you could deploy, say, an interdiction device, which we're kind of thinking is sort of like a gravity well that will sort of pull you out in the appropriate place, and then interdict the person that's flying it. So there's a lot of kind of cool stuff, and we're sort of playing with all those aspects, but it will definitely be straight line. Okay, next question comes from CH1GZ, who asks, with the large number of controller options available, what is going to be your own personal controller setup when it comes to playing the final released versions of Star Citizen? Well, there's Cytec HOTAS with that modular keyboard and the mouse. Absolutely, it's totally cool, it's totally themed. We've actually spent a fair amount of time looking at prototypes and giving feedback and stuff like that, like how it feels, where the button is, kind of thinking about functionality. So it is specifically designed for Star Citizen to have the best of all the worlds possible. So you have, the feel of controlling flight with the HOTAS. You got the keyboard obviously for sort of all the extra stuff, and having a mouse for you're running around doing some FPS stuff. So that 100% will be mine. It looks cool, and it's functions well, or at least the early technical prototypes do, where you have to sort of finish the path of testing out the manufacturing prototype and all the rest of stuff. But that is we're going to put it on everyone's desk. They're super cool. So that will be my one. Next question comes from Cyrez, who asks, will there be any other way to stop people from jumping away during combat other than using an EMP? Will we just have to hope to shoot their engines off and not destroy their ship? Or can we look forward to some sort of tracker beam technology? Okay, well, I sort of discussed a little bit of this when we were talking about quantum drive. We're thinking about several things, so the whole ability to interdict is something that we're working on, like all the ins and outs and the edge cases of it. We do not want people to be able to jump away during combat. First of all, they're going to have to be able to get far enough away from whoever they're fighting to have enough separation to spin up the quantum drive. They can't have anything that's blocking them or inside. And we've talked about certain things like the power drain needed to actually do the jump. May drop your shields or whatever else that would make you vulnerable if there's other people around trying to take you out. We're also talking about when you come out of quantum drive, say if you get interdicted, you can't just instantly just go to cruise. Your engines have to cool down, and so there'll be a moment of vulnerability where if you're getting interdicted, you'll have to survive for a while before you can spin up to cruise to try and get away, and then get far enough away, then maybe you could quantum drive again. That's kind of sort of the idea. And so one of the ideas of the interdiction is that you would deploy a kind of whatever we want to call it, a gravity well generator, which can be something that your ship deploys, or you could deploy it as kind of think of it as putting a mine out there or something to or a hook to catch fish going by. So definitely there is going to be plenty of ways to stop people jumping away. So the gameplay that you see right now in the mini PU will not be the actual final gameplay. So we're working on the systems like everything. We've got a massive list of things to do, and it's really just comes down to priorities, because we could have double the amount of game programmers and they probably would still be saying, oh, we don't have enough people. But yes, there will be other ways to stop people from jumping. Next question comes from Jack Hollow, who says, with the Star Citizen event being held in LA, comments as expected, and being announced as the first upcoming SC event, can I assume that I've booked my rooms and tickets for Gamescom in Germany for nothing, and that SC RSI will not be there this year, whereas they were there for 2014 and 2015? So Jack, no, you don't have to assume that. We are absolutely going to be there. I was actually looking at our both our press booth and our game show floor booth. So we're going to have more of a presence on the actual floor. I think there's going to be sort of a couple of sort of pop-up social events that we're going to do there. So the one thing we're just not doing this year is we're not doing the big sort of feature reveal that we did the last couple of Gamescoms in the big venue, mostly just because that can be pretty big on logistics, and we've got a lot of things going on, like obviously Squadron 42 that everyone's working hard on, and a lot of features are rolling out for Star Citizen. We are going to be showing some pretty cool stuff, and it will be various stuff that we have in development, but we're going to sort of focus more on the sort of show floor, doing some press stuff, and then sort of some social sort of pop-up events where people get together and mingle and talk, rather than a big full-on presentation like we did the last couple of years. And that's mainly just for, we've got a lot of stuff to get done, and everyone's running kind of ragged because it's getting pulled in a lot of things, and the big Gamescom events always sort of take a fair amount of focus. But we are absolutely going to be there. I'll be there. People like Aaron will be there. Brian Chambers will be there. Community folks will be there. So I think we'll be there. So don't worry about it. And there'll be plenty of time to have some beers in the beer garden. All right. So you didn't book your tickets in vain. Last question comes from Tramp's Nest, who asks, with the introduction of persistence and economy, will you still be able to rent weapons with REC and use them in the PU? So no, REC is only going to be a device used for essentially electronic access, which at the moment is Arena Commander, but would also be Star Marine when that comes online. And if we have sort of a game mode for SATA Ball, which also is down the line, versus the real SATA Ball, because you're also going to be able to really race as well in our PU universe. But anything in the PU universe will be in UEC. So at the beginning, it will be Alpha UEC, which is sort of the kind of the temporary or the alpha version of our proper currency that we can reset now and then. Because obviously there's going to be a whole bunch of experimentation and balance issues and all the rest of stuff. And so you'll earn Alpha UEC, and you'll use that to buy things that will persist. The REC will be just the way it is in Arena Commander as it is right now. And you'll probably be able to use Alpha UEC to buy some REC. Sort of that meta buying, in one game, it's sort of, an exception. How many levels down do you go? So there you go. All right, that's the last of the 10 questions I had from subscribers for this week. Like I said at the top of the show, it'll be a little while before I'm back on this, since I'm going over to the UK and Germany for a decent chunk of time to deal with mocap and PCAP and sitting with the teams. So I'll miss doing this for a few weeks, but when I come back, I'll be doing them again, and in the meantime, there'll be a whole bunch of other folks sort of taking up the slack, and they always do a great job. And sometimes you get bored of me anyway. So, but thank you, everybody. Thank you, the subscribers who contribute money to allow us to do this. Really appreciated. Thank you to everyone that's backed us and making us, allowing us to make the game of this scale. I mean, I say it every month, or every week, every time I get on the show, and anytime you ask me, but without you guys, we couldn't be doing what we're doing. We're building something wildly ambitious that I am 100% confident that no other publisher or company or anyone would be crazy enough to do. The investment really, honestly, is too big for a PC game and a space game, but we're doing it, and I think we're going to make history because we're going to build something of detail and complexity that you normally don't have the opportunity to do, and it's all because of you guys. So thank you very much, and I will talk to you guys in the hopefully not too distant future. Hey guys, thanks for watching 10 for the Chairman. If you guys would like to see more episodes, go here. If you guys would like to subscribe to our YouTube channel and always keep up to date with all our video content, go here. And if you guys would like to watch episodes of Around the Verse, go here please. And I will see you in the verse.